How's it going, folks? And lately, everyone's been talking about, the news media's been talking about buying property. And I want to share some advice, not because, look, I'm not an economist, I don't have a banking background, but I've experienced buying an investment property. And the funny thing is that the media always bombard us saying China investors buying it. And I'm here with Mayan. And Mayan, can you please tell me a bit of your background and your story of reasoning of buying a property?
Sure, man. As you can see, my name is Mayan, and I'm 18 years of age.
Yeah.
And my background is like Kenya, and I came here when I was really young. But the thing is, I always had a dream of buying a house.
Yeah.
And I'm in a family where people that they already like do investment, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
Which is my uncle and my cousin, and what they do, they just go. Every single year they go to different areas, such as like Sunshine, Braybrook, you know.
We're just talking about Melbourne suburbs.
Yeah, Melbourne suburbs, yeah. And what they do, they will buy a property, and after that, after they bought the property, they will just go and renovate it. And after they renovate it, they will get somebody to go and live there. And that person will just pay the bills, and those bills, the money that they pay for the bill is what they pay the mortgage off, you know.
Definitely.
And then later on, like after 12 months, my cousin, they would just take their property and then they would sell it out and then they would make new money. And they're actually successful people now, you know, they have make a lot of money.
Yeah, definitely is.
Yeah.
I got nothing against with investment. But totally nothing against. So can you please tell me a bit of background of your uncle and cousin? Are they working full time or this is their full time?
At the start, they used to work, you know. My uncle used to be a lawyer, he used to make money, a lot of money. And my cousin, he was like a businessman.
Yeah.
So they had that mentality, you know, of success, you know, in their mind already. And then after they start doing the investment thing, now it's like a full-time job for them. They don't have like, my uncle is not a lawyer no more, and my little cousin is not a businessman no more.
So they literally shift full-time to this industry.
Exactly, because like what they do, every single year they just need to have like $35,000 or $30,000, and then they invest it, you know, into a new property, and that's how they live off. And after every single 12 months, they make more money.
Yeah.
They're usually, so there's no point of working like part-time job no more.
Okay.
They just invest their time in that, in investing.
Yeah, it definitely is. You know, like for me to make this video, it's not to make Mayan to buy a property. Since Mayan, he's a young fella, he's 18 years old. My parents forced me to buy a house under my name at the age of 19. But I wasn't aware of what's the con and pros. So this video is not about going against Mayan's dream to buy a house. What I wanted to do for this video purpose is to educate a lot of people who wants to buy a house. I'm not sure what the market's like. Give you a clear idea. Look, nothing wrong with investment. It's a job. It's a career, to be honest, all right? And what's going on today, 2015 in Australia, and it's been going on for like, you know, a couple years now, like the banks are going very loose, loosen their restriction for, you know, even whether you're a Chinese investor or Australian born or even an Australian citizen to buy a house. Like all you need is 5% to deposit and you could buy a house, depending whatever the house value market. So what I'm trying to say is that, look, I'm not an economist, I'm not a bankster. What I can say is that I've been through all the struggles, I've been through all the, you know, 9 to 5 job every 7 days, and I want to share that to Mayan. So to him to acknowledge a lot more what's it like for property. And now, frankly, a lot of young adults are getting in this industry because their parents are forcing them. Because it's like a golden opportunity, like 5%, you know. You may have like 10 grand or whatever, but you can ask your family relative to then give you some money and you make up that 5%.
Of course.
But obviously, when my parents moved to Australia in 1989, the interest rate was 17%. Now, that is a hell of a lot. There's no way a working class or low class or unemployment to afford to buy a house. In that time, it's usually business owners or CEOs. But now, as it's been drawn to what I've recently found out is Melbourne banks. What's it? Is it Melbourne Bank? I think. Yeah, Melbourne Bank. Apparently, their interest rate is 4.04 interest rate, and it's luring, you know, unemployment or low class employment a working class to buy houses. Now more and more people are buying houses. The banks are literally printing off money for free. I can't say for free, but 95% of their household and just print it to these guys. And how it affects the economy. Like I said, I'm not an economist. I don't have a business degree, but I can say it from my experience. And let's go and let's talk about housing. Okay, so Mayan, I know, you're renting now.
Yeah.
What's the feel like renting?
The thing is, I'm renting with my mom and my sisters.
Yep.
And we live in a 3-bedroom house. It's down in Laverton, and the house is pretty expensive. What I mean is, we pay like 1,300
Per month? Yep.
a month. When you think of it, that's actually a lot of money, you know.
Yeah. And one more thing, you're sick and tired of paying off your
course.
landlord mortgage off, right?
Of course.
I'm pretty sure you're sick of it.
Of course. You know, and that's why I'm just thinking of, you know.
You want to buy a property?
I want to buy a property for my mom, you know.
So you can pay your own house.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly, you know. At least if I work hard, I can just work, you know, and know that I'm paying this off, and later on it's going to be my property, you know, instead of just, you know, staying in a renting house, a private house, and you're just paying bills and bills and bills. You know what I mean?
Look, I totally understand. Like, you know, we don't like to pay off someone's mortgage, and there's 23 million Australians. Unfortunately, not 23 million Australian has their own house. Majority of them are renting. Unfortunately, that's how it goes. Now, the thing about renting, and now you got this 5% or 4% of this interest rate, more and more people, like renters like you, or low incomers or no incomers, they just flood in to buy a property. But like I said before in this video, I'm here to give them the pros and cons. So I've got a list here, okay? So let's talk about the pros and cons about the rent, and later on we'll talk about the pros and cons about the mortgage. Okay, so the rent, I mentioned before, money paying off the landlord's mortgage. The second thing is that not all rent property allow you to have a pet.
Of course.
And third of all, you're not allowed to just randomly paint the wall or do whatever you want that suits your atmosphere. And frankly, you can't even draw a wall. You can't. Stick on a picture or anything you want.
It's restricted. They have the rules. You know, you can't do any damage in the house, because when you do a damage in the house, it's something called
House bond.
House bond. And that house bond, if you do damage in the house later on when you're moving out, you can't have that bond. You know.
Definitely is.
And for some people, especially migrant people, it's a struggle to have that money taken away from you, because it's up to 1,000 or something.
Yeah.
Right? So you have to be careful what you do in the house.
Yeah, definitely is. And one good thing about renting that a mortgage will never have is that you're on a contract, but I'm not sure how many years. Probably 1 or 2 years, or 1 year, or 6 months, right?
Oh, with the renting?
Yeah.
Yeah, you get to choose, you know, how long you want to stay in the house. So let's say you want to stay for 6 months, you will sign a contract. Or you want to stay
So it's a flexible contract.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely is. And one good thing about renting is that, yes, right now it's expensive for you, but it's flexible for you to move around. You can always find a cheaper rent in Australia.
You can, but nowadays it's like a struggle, you know, to find a new place, you know, because there's a lot of competition, especially here in Melbourne. There's a lot of people coming to Melbourne, and the population in Melbourne is getting big, and which makes it hard for people. Like, let's say, like, if you live in a house and you want to move out to a new house, you have to fill out applications.
Yeah, definitely.
Sometimes, you know, if the landlord says something negative about you, might not get that property that you're looking for.
Yeah.
So it's like a competition.
So, but also one more thing is that you can always have the cheaper option. For example, you can move out further away from the city.
Of course.
And you always have a cheaper option.
Yeah, like that's actually a good thing to do, you know, if you want to like save money.
Yeah.
You just move out from the urban area and go out to rural areas, you know.
Yeah.
That's the best thing you can do.
So also there's no restriction. Living in a rent is not usually a luxury lifestyle, and it can be a short term or long term, like I mentioned before. And one good thing about renting is that you don't need to do any payment on repairing. For example, if the toilet breaks, you call up your landlord, that's free.
Yeah.
Or anything like that.
Of course.
So, okay, now let's go to the pros about renting. You have your holidays. You can do your holidays. You can pursue your hobbies. You have a secure future of not risking how the market's gonna affect you if you buy a house. And also, you save money. So that's the things that we talk about. Now, I know like Mayan talks about his family pays $1,300. That's roughly around $400 per week, if I can count. Oh no, sorry, I'm bad with my math.
About 300.
300, okay, $350 a week. Sorry, I'm Asian now. But why 350? May as well just buy a property that you can pay off 350. And that's what a lot of people, renters, will think about.
Yep.
Like, I can buy a property and pay the same amount. Am I correct?
Yeah.
So let's go to the mortgage, okay? You have the freedom of doing everything. When I mean by freedom, you can do house parties, you can have pets, you can do whatever you want, even renovate your own rooms, go through your council, of course, and also, paint your own room, will suit your atmosphere as well. And you have an option to rent out rooms or whole house or per room. So you can gain some income source, like what your uncle and your cousins have been doing. And as well, it can be an investment. You can gain money if the Australian economy housing is going up. You can gain money if you sell the house, so you can't. Having a house. One thing about having a house is that you have status.
Yeah.
You
do.
And when you have status, you can do everything. It's easy for you to get married because you're successful. You have a house. But we don't need to think about borrowing money. But what I'm trying to say is that when you have a house, people see you're successful person. And as well, you're easy to get married. You can also refinance of your property as it increase. You can buy a second property as well. So you and or your family, friends, or whatever can buy another property. That's the good thing about buying one property. That's why your cousin's been doing. He refinance and join with his missus and buy another property. That's the good thing about it. So they can make double the money, but that's a double mortgage as well we're talking about. House repair, that's the issue. As you know, rent, you have to call up your landlord and it's for free. But if any issue comes down, you forking out your own money.
Yeah.
Okay? You're forking out your own money. Okay, so things that the cons about the house that people should really know about it. Fear of interest rate rise. We talk about that later on, okay? Also, devalue of the house. When you devalue the house, obviously you're not going to be too happy and you want to sell, okay? Unless you're not doing for investment. You and your family live there for life. You loss of hobby because you committed to work, right?
To pay off the mortgage. And
plus, you don't want to do your hobby because you spend money on your hobby. May as well you spend extra money, like save a bit of money to go on the mortgage, and as well. No holidays. As I mentioned before, you need to save money to pay off the mortgage. You most likely, from my experience, you suffer stress, depression, mental health because you're constantly working. And as well, you're most likely to get a second job to cover repayment of the interest rate. I'm just saying. But the problem is loss of job. You never know when you're going to lose your job.
No.
But when you lose your job, the banks is going to give you a notification. There's a thing called lender mortgage insurance that only covers you 3 months or 6 months. If you can't pay, they'll kick you out for sure. Okay, so once you get to that stage, if Mayan can't pay off like 3 months or 6 months, the bank will confiscate his house and settle off, which is e-mortgage. You gotta go? Okay. E-mortgage. Look guys, we will do this bit later once I finish this. And another thing is that the problem with Mayan, he has to sign a home loan contract 20 to 60 years.
For investment or buying a house?
Doesn't matter, investment or anything. Depending how much you're borrowing. Okay? I'm not trying to say how much, but we'll get that bit later on. There's another issue. Can't keep up with the interest rate. So when the interest rate rise, he has to fork out more money just to pay off the interest. Struggle to pay off the house. And today, as I mentioned before, low class and working class able to buy a house. In 1990s, nobody can afford to buy a house.